Welcome viewers. Former Vice President Mike Pence has taken a long time to strike out at Donald Trump for placing him in danger at the 2021 Capitol riot, but Pence's advisors convinced him to finally hit hard at his old boss at the gridiron dinner, they told Politico. In this video we will break it all down for you. But before we continue, please take a minute of your precious time to hit the subscribe button below and turn on the notification bell to get the latest update from us. They viewed the event, a white tie event thrown by journalists in Washington, as an opportunity for Pence clearly amplify what he has already more quietly expressed. That Trump's baseless rigged election claim and his firing up of the mob of his supporters who called for Pence to be hanged put him and his family in extreme danger. Make no mistake about it, what happened that day was a disgrace, and it mocks decency to portray it in any other way, Pence declared at the gridiron dinner Saturday night. His reckless words endangered my family and everyone at the Capitol that day. And I know that history will hold Donald Trump accountable. Pence's advisors were convinced that the hard-hitting remarks would begin to forge Pence's profile as a presidential candidate and help win over his most skeptical audience, Washington insiders and journalists, who have already largely discounted him in a presidential primary, Politico added. This was a different audience for him, Mark Short, Pence's former vice presidential chief of staff and his senior advisor, told Politico. And his dangerous experience has landed him in a unique position, said Short. Mike is in a different place where he can be sort of free and liberated in ways that I don't think others in the field are, Short explained to Politico. I believe that he's got a good pathway forward. One source noted that Pence has more room to grow with more of an upside among Republican primary voters than a rival like Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. The governor already has to fill huge expectations as a combination of Ronald Reagan and Willie Nelson and Bono all wrapped up into one, said the source. Those close to Pence are working to bring out his warmer, more personable side, according to the report, making sure his campaign events will include things like fireside chats. He also doesn't want to make the press the enemy, as Trump has. Pence even praised the media in his comments Saturday. We were able to stay at our post in part because you stayed at your post, he told reporters at the dinner who covered the Capitol siege. The American people know what happened that day because you never stopped reporting. Pence, who has yet to declare that he's running for the Republican presidential nomination, will next campaign in New Hampshire on Thursday and Iowa on Saturday, two early GOP primary states, Politico noted. After spending years talking about locking up political opponents, thereby normalizing the idea of high-profile lawmakers serving time in prison, Donald Trump could be on the brink of being the first former American president to end up behind bars. With the announcement that Trump has been invited to appear before a Manhattan grand jury next week, in what is believed to be the final step before being indicted for his part in paying hush money to an adult film actress before the 2016 election, The Atlantic's David S. Graham suggested Trump's exhortation to lock her up, aimed at former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, may be boomeranging back on him. Trump acclimated Americans to many egregious actions by exposure therapy, Graham explained before elaborating. What was once novel and frightening became familiar. Familiarity bred contempt, but also enough acceptance to let Trump get away with a lot. Ironically, Trump may himself now risk falling victim to the same pattern. The idea that a former president might be indicted for a crime has, through repetition, gone from an unthinkable breach of long-settled norms to something so expected that the actual event may feel like an anticlimax. According to Graham, the idea of indicting a former president has been considered off-limits going back as recently as President Gerald Ford's decision to issue a blanket pardon of disgraced Richard Nixon over fears it would tear the country apart. However, Trump's divisive rhetoric against his opponents since he first ran for president in 2016 has made what was once considered unthinkable seem like the normal course of events. Please, what is your take on this? And remember to subscribe as well. Thanks for